All right, we are live. Jacob Thomas, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you so much, Eric. Great to meet you, and thanks for having me on.
Yeah, and this is pretty exciting. I haven't really done anything like this. Jay, it's like doing a very specific series. So this is brought to our listeners by EGYM, and we would really want to tackle kind of like a big part of the industry, but something so specific that we can give people really solid takeaways on what to do. So primarily, we're talking about health clubs and gyms and how they onboard clients, and why that's so critical and how that's changed, over recent years. And they connected me with you, Jacob, because you do an excellent job of it, and we thought we could learn a lot from you and present a lot to the industry. So, let's just dive right into it, Jacob. Let's start with this, man. Tell us about you and your two locations in Wisconsin, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Sure, yeah. So we have Razor Sharp Fitness. We're a locally owned mom and pop club. My wife and I are the second owners of the club. Just purchased the gyms about 20 months ago.
Awesome.
Um, so we've been really blessed to be a part of it. And ultimately, our two clubs, we have one big box club, 47,000 square feet, and then one smaller satellite club, about 11,000 square feet. And so we again been around for 20 years here in Racine, Wisconsin, and yeah.
Right on. And what do you, when you look at that, those are fairly substantially large gyms you got there, my friend. How do you guys differentiate in your marketplace? Like, what do you specialize in?
Sure. I think we really specialize in being the best place to get a workout in and really focus on wellness. And so, not only from the fitness aspect, but also from stress relief and being able to have great community and being able to have an amazing engagement with not only our staff but also with other members. And so we really feel like we're a family-based organization, a community-based organization, and then we solely focus on fitness. We don't really dabble a whole lot outside of those lines. It's really everything we make decisions on is how is this experience affecting that member experience, from their workouts to their wellness and those kind of things. So we feel like that's where our specialty is.
Right on, man. Well, I appreciate that. So, getting right into the onboarding topic, like, why do you feel, and maybe you don't, but I presume you do because you're on this interview, but why do you feel onboarding is so critical? Not just for, the gym and driving revenues and retention, but for the client experience themselves. Like, why is it so important?
Well, I think first is the fact that the industry hasn't always done a great job of this. I think it's something that either it's hey, sign up and figure it out on your own a lot of times, or it's sign up and let me put a personal trainer in front of you, or let me put something in front of you on a road that we want you to take, and not one that you have an idea or are able to give feedback of where you want it to go and what your interests are. And so I think where, what's really important to us is being able to utilize the members' interest in regards to their onboarding, but then we utilize a lot of data. The interesting part about doing this interview right now is I'm presenting at URSA next week. My presentation is truly member onboarding. And so
Awesome.
we looked at analytics and data and research from how people achieve results and how they progress their results and what that means in regards to staying a member and their happiness inside the club. Also, their usage rates, the how often do they need to be using the club to show that they're going to stay a member and enjoy their membership with you. And then last but not least is just building that community engagement as well, not only from your staff, but also from other members. So if we can utilize all those different pieces, and the data and research so points to, if you can put these items together, that ultimately not only will you have a member that's going to be utilizing the club, but they're going to be enjoying it. And what does that look like to us? I mean, that's how many more months of revenue, but even more so, it's member referrals, it's opportunities for you to have happy members on people that are loving the club instead of just being a member.
Yeah, right on. And maybe we should define this a little bit. So as far as onboarding goes, Jacob, is that like as soon as someone's like the moment someone signs up and commits, like is
Mhm.
that the next step is essentially onboarding?
Yeah, and of course, it probably starts before that time as
Hmm.
well, and,
Yep.
and how you begin that process from the prospecting aspect of it as well. But truly, yes, it's from that new member onboarding. What we talk about is all the way to 90 days. So from sign up to 90 days after their membership, what are all the things that you're putting together to really have that that new member onboarding experience be exceptional?
Right on. So it's the first 90 days,
Mm-hmm.
essentially. And, when you look at how we've done it in the past as an industry, and, granted, it's a young industry still, but where do you think we've gotten onboarding wrong? Where do you think we've missed opportunities?
Well, I think where it really starts is, first that membership sales process and how it can be a smooth, more engagement minded, where we're building the person up right at that place, not trying to get them into, again, the road that we want them to go down in regards to their membership.
Hmm.
How can we have them start creating what their path is, what their plan for success is in regards to utilizing your membership? Now, we believe that, somebody is making a huge commitment to us because there are many other options in the industry that you could go to, from boutiques and for us, there's more high volume, low cost low cost memberships that are available as well. We're more of, the higher cost membership. So the fact that somebody is willing to put their trust into us, we're trying to build that trust from when they walk in the door because they're committing to us as well. And so ultimately that is what we're focusing on, and where I think we've lost that in the past is we're so driven by, okay, how do we get these people just through the door and have them become members and have all cool bells and whistles and toys for them to use, but are we missing the essence of why they joined? And so I think that is where the industry has really probably been a little straight off. And I think some of the data and research is really starting to back how we can make a better impact right when these people join.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know you're presenting on this, just next week's at URSA. So if you have any, statistics or numbers that you want to throw on, that's, I don't want to spoil it for your presentation, but I'm sure you got a bunch of stuff
Sure.
swimming in your head. So yeah, along these, when we get through these lines of questioning here, if you have any stuff, please throw it in there. Okay. So let's get granular with how you guys do it at Razor. Um, what is what is that onboarding process like, from the moment they sign up through that first 90 days? Give us as much detail as you can without kind of giving it away.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I talked a little bit before, is we really focus on three main factors: is usage rate, achieving and progressing the results, and then ultimately building community. And so those three pieces start right when you walk in our door for the first time, even before becoming a member, where they're getting introduced to staff members, 3 staff members on their membership tour. They're getting introduced to 3 members on their tour. And we already want to start creating that idea of that we are a community-based organization right when they walk in the door, and that ultimately nobody's too good to say hi. And so we want to initially create that. And then when you sign up for your membership, we do what we call our fitness consultation or a Razor results session. That is a fee-based service. And so it is included in every single new member's agreement, where they pay for this service. And ultimately it's that their starting point for utilizing the club, where they currently are, and then all the things that we can utilize and make sure that they're going on the right track. And so our membership sales team not only sells a membership, but then they're also the ones that are doing that Razor results or that fitness consultation session. So what we see from that is so many times the trust is built from that membership sales, the tour, and all of that relationship that's built, that we see so much higher show rates when that same person is the one that's taking them through that consultation process. So our team is doubling not only from a sales perspective, but also from an onboarding perspective. and they take them through that. Now, where we have really dove deep into it is how do we start putting technology and data and all that kind of stuff together for our members to be able to see where their starting point is, but then ultimately be able to track where their goals are and how they're progressing towards them. So one really big thing that we've done is we brought in EGYM actually just a little over a month ago. And what we've done with that product is we've really created a tracking model off of that. So we use of course, the health and fitness questionnaire, like most, where you're kind of understanding where they are. Ours is a little bit more geared toward behavioral changes and, how we can quantify, especially from where we are now in regards to the non-physical attributes, right? Those non-tangible things that people are, from stress relief and how they're feeling stress-wise and so on and so forth. So we start there, then we go and utilize a Staiku body composition scan, where we're really diving into the circumference measurements of that person, giving them an actual picture of what they look like, and ultimately a tracking device where they can come back and be able to see how they're doing in regards to their progress and see changes, because as we know, change doesn't always happen on the scale. So we dive deep into more of those body composition pieces to be able to add to that. We also utilize an InBody, which is another body composition analysis, but we see even greater detail inside the body, what's happening inside. And then we utilize EGYM from there for flexibility tests, cardio tests, strength tests. And those pieces really give us a really good indication of where this person is, where they want to go. And then, of course, you have tracking and data to be able to utilize for them on their journey as they go through. And then we sit down with them. We talk about, where do you want to go? What are you interested in? How can we help set this up for you? So we sell fee-based services just as much as we sell non-fee-based services. So our studio classes are all included with your membership. How can we help get you involved, engaged with those? We have Peloton bikes. Are you interested in, hey, I want to come in and get my own workout in, but somebody to lead me and push me, but cool. Maybe something that's free, or I've already had a Peloton. Here you go. We can have you get connected and involved with that. Personal training and swim lessons, and really everything that we offer is all included there. And really, because we have that value that they pay for in the beginning, we're giving those as demo sessions, as intros, and as connecting pieces for those members to be able to get to right away. But even more importantly, we build a fitness team around this individual. So if you're interested in doing a studio class, you get introduced to the group exercise instructor, you get introduced to the group exercise manager, and those people are going to meet you at the session. Make sure that you're engaged and connected right away. Hopefully we have some ambassadors in that class as well, where they're already getting connected then to the community with them as well. And so that really, for any appointment that we create from that fitness consultation, ultimately we have somebody on the other side making sure that they're engaged and connected and that they're showing up for that. And then from there, we really track the usage side. So we talk about, how many sessions do we want them to get in the first month, 2 months, and ultimately all the way to those 90 days. And so we're tracking that. We utilize Keep Me, so to be able to do automated messages on behavioral patterns in regards to the member. So if they don't check in one time in the first 7 days, they're getting a message saying, hey, we know that you were excited about your membership when you first signed up. Haven't seen you quite yet. We want to make sure that you're getting the most out of it. How can we help you? Here's some ideas. And so we're tracking and engaging. As soon as they do check in the first time, we're selling a celebration message to them, being like, hey, cool. You came, you did it. We're proud of you. The first step is always the biggest one. Keep it going, So we do a lot of tracking inside that 90 days. The smallest goal, but if you don't hit it, the biggest indicator is just coming in 1 time a week or 4 check-ins a month. So if we can get that in essentially that first 90 days, we are on track for this member to be staying with us for a really long time. If we can get them all the way to 2.2 times a week, which ultimately is 9 times a month, at that 90-day mark, again, even more so, this person is going to be staying with us for a long time. And then how we really bottle this up. And while you're getting this information on, hey, how you're doing check-in wise, and how are your results going, and we track interests, we send drip campaigns and all that kind of stuff too, is we have a 90-day follow-up, which essentially is a repeat of what the initial fitness consultation was, to see how they progressed. Where did they see progress? Maybe where did they see challenges? And how could we make sure that we catch them early enough so that they aren't falling off by those 90 days? Or if at 90 days, that's where we see the point of huge drop off if they aren't utilizing or seeing that progress. So we're putting that in the whole time in the 90 days of how can we get you engaged in that follow-up session, and then tracking all the information kind of in between that as well.
Wow. Yeah, that's super comprehensive. Thank you for laying that out.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So just a couple little, I'm trying to think of questions people might have as they're listening. So I guess number one, two questions for you. The first one is like, when you talk about these, the raise of results session, which is your initial consultation, and you mentioned that is a fee on top of what they would also sign up for the membership. So do you make that mandatory? Is that like part of the sales process? Be like, you got to do this, you got to do this. This is the deal. If not, no problem. There's another gym down the road. Is it that clear?
Yeah, exactly. And there are people that by all means, they get the membership, pay $59 and don't do the fitness consultation.
Okay.
We obviously try not to have that happen as much as possible, but for those people, how do we find other ways to get them engaged for that money that they paid? So we do also look at that, especially if they don't utilize the fitness consultation. We start talking to them about, hey, we understand that you didn't do it. Here's other ways we still want to engage you. We know that you paid for it. But yeah, every single new member pays for that fitness consultation session.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Okay. And then the other question I have for you is like communicating with these people in the first 90 days. Like, what do you find is the best mode of communication? Is it SMS? Is it email? Is it phone calls? What do you guys see there?
I mean, we really try to do a balance of everything. So we start with a text message, then the next one's an email. That's where we really, from like an automated standpoint, where we do most of our communication. And then when it comes to our team being involved, so we really have those checkpoints at, 1 month, 2 months, and then those 90 days. That's where they're reviewing, how many check-ins have they done? Have they went to the sessions that they said they were going to go to? Where are they in this process, essentially? And that's normally a phone call. And if we don't hear from them, then we're using those email or text messages to be able to follow up with that as well. But then they're sending more manual, specific messages to them in regards to that. And so, yeah, so really we have three checkpoints for phone calls, and then it's really mixing in text messages and emails through that time.
Yeah, fantastic. That's pretty comprehensive, man. I don't know. Is there anything that you would like to add to that? I mean, maybe any interesting statistics about like, if you get them through this first 90 days, 4 check-ins per month, like what happens after that? I'm curious about that too. What do you see?
Yeah. So what we see is if they are checking in, again, four times a month, essentially they're going to stay a member for, I believe it's 7 to 12 months longer, as long as they're just doing that. If they're seeing progress and results, especially at that 90-day point, but if they just see them at any time, the likelihood to be a member increases by 50% at 6 months from that time. So those are huge impacts in regards to, just that. And then ultimately, when you then tailor in the idea of how do we get our employees to engage with our members and essentially build relationships when they come in, they have a friendly face to talk to and so on and so forth. You're saving cancellations by up to 50% just if your staff is talking and engaged with their members. So if you put kind of all of these 3 components together, you're essentially seeing how much you can affect, those cancellations, especially cancellations that you can do something about. You can't do anything about somebody moving. A lot of times you can't do a lot of things about financial issues and things like that. But just not using the club or unmotivated or just feeling like they're not a part of the community, those are ones that we can definitely impact.
Awesome. Well, Jacob, thank you so much for doing all this and sharing all that. That's really valuable. And I'm sure you've worked really hard to get to that, those specifics. If people want to reach you or maybe connect with you at URSA, is there any place specifically online that you'd like them to go?
Sure. So ultimately, at URSA, like I said, I'll be presenting, kind of kicking things off at 9 a.m. on Wednesday morning. I would love anybody to come and like I said, right, dive really, really deep into the data and the research and kind of how all these pieces work together. Outside of that, I can be reached at Razor Fitness. So my email is the letter J Thomas and then at razorsharpfit.com. I'm happy to reach out, talk to anybody about what we do. And then probably a little bit more. I know, part of this is with EGYM, and I kind of want to go into that maybe just a little bit as well to finish is how we've brought in and utilized that. We utilize BioAge data, testing data, and that to really create that depiction of who this person is, and from a strength and a cardio and a flexibility and a metabolic standpoint. And so we're able to even dive deeper into how are people showing progress just using equipment. Which is something that's really impossible to do for a lot of things. So we've been really blessed to have that. We utilize it extensively inside that fitness consultation and onboarding. And then it's another great opportunity for us to showcase that equipment before jumping on it and trying it themselves. We can then be like, hey, here's how it looks. Here's if you're interested in it, we can give you a trainer to really onboard you into it, and then you'll be able to utilize it from there. But it's been a great system to be able to utilize that way. And then I can also be reached. My phone number is 262-898-1791. And by all means, happy to chat and kind of talk about anything else in regards to the fitness industry.
Awesome, man. Giving the phone number, old school. I love it. Well, Jacob, thank you so much for joining. I hope everyone, checks you out at URSA and tries to connect with you. I really appreciate you doing this. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Jacob Thomas.
Thanks, Eric. It was great.